You probably won't hear this very clearly, but I just finished using a pressure cooker to cook, and it's taken me 4 to 6 years to do so. And it's fascinating to me because until last week, I avoided pressure cookers like my life depended on it. And the reason why I avoided pressure cookers was not because I had a particularly difficult experience with any of them. In fact, I have never had an experience with a pressure cooker before, whether good or bad. The only reason why I've always avoided it is because my mom said it was going to kill me. Growing up, my mom planted the fear in me, at the very least, that I remember, that pressure cookers are very dangerous. I remember how she used to show us, like, whenever there's a news report of an exploded pressure cooker, or her friend told her how somebody's in hospital and was burnt from head to toe, and one child died in their house because they tried to open a pressure cooker and it exploded. The truth is that pressure cookers are dangerous, right? Fair enough. But millions and millions of people, especially in 2026, now use pressure cookers. The technology has advanced. The reason why pressure cookers are dangerous, as you know, is because they are pressurized containers, right? That's the mechanism that they use to cook the food very quickly. They pressurize it. So they have to let out all the steam before you're able to open it. Now, I don't know what the technology of the past was in 1986 or whenever that was, but even today, there are now mechanisms that make sure that it's safe enough, and that they are like fail-safe switches. There are 3 different steam releases and stuff that make sure that if anything does happen to the pressure cooker, it will shut down itself, right? You wouldn't even have to touch it, right? Much less exploding in your face. But from the age of about 6 or thereabout, I have always had the fear, and I remember very vividly how my mom made it very clear that on no circumstance must we go near a pressure cooker, because it will automatically blow up in our face and we could die and have burns and be in hospital forever, blah, blah, blah. The issue with parental fear, the good side of parental fear, is that many parents use it as a safety mechanism. They know that they cannot be with their children everywhere, every time, right? And children are very impulsive and very impatient. So if something has even a 10% chance of causing harm to your child, one of the mechanisms you use to keep the child safe is to create fear. That's what religion does as well with heaven and hell. By creating enough fear of something bad happening to you, you can stop somebody from even exploring that thing at all. So the question many parents have to ask themselves is the safety of my child outweighing the need for a life experience that might benefit them later? The downside with creating this fear and making your children inherit the fears that you have without experiencing for themselves whether something is good for them or not is that they have no rational reason for fearing things, except that their mom used to fear a cockroach, or their dad used to fear a spider, or in my case, I just feared that I would die the moment I touched a pressure cooker. None of these things were true. Many of those things are grounded in trying to keep you safe when you're a child. The problem that we then have is that because you're such an authority figure in the child's life, you're literally the representation of God. You are the Constitution. The child looks up to his parents, whether you like it or not. He takes your word as law. And so, if you have planted a seed in your child's life, it takes almost only you to be able to remove that seed. In many instances, when you've planted a seed in a child, if the opportunity presents itself later on when the child is older, the same parent tries their best to unpluck that seed, to uproot it, to say, oh, now you're old enough. No, that's fine. I know I told you not to touch the open wires. I told you not to go near sockets. I told you not to use a pressure cooker. I told you not to drive a car. But now that you're 15, now that you're 18, don't worry, it's safe now. Let me teach you how to safely use it. There are circumstances where that happens. And that's what many parents hope will happen. That at some point they have enough control that when it's now safe, they can go back and tell the child that it is now safe for them to get over a fear that you had planted in them in the first place. But in many circumstances, especially when that matter just never came up in the course of life, like a pressure cooker, we never had one in my house. I just avoided it wherever I went and I saw it. I physically avoided it without saying anything. And my parents just never had an opportunity to come back and say, actually, that fear that you have, we said that for a reason. Now you can get over it, and this is how to use it safely. I never got a chance to do it. So inadvertently, I've carried that fear with me. I've just never bought it, never used it, never tried to use it. Even this is not mine. I just saw it here and I thought, you know what? I know how quickly this would make food. There's certain foods that I really want to eat that are good for me, like beans, but I can't because it takes 3 hours to make the type I like. But a pressure cooker will make it in 45 minutes. But oh, forgive me for not even trying. So it took me all of last week, multiple days, talking to ChatGPT and trying to get over the fear myself, asking it what could go wrong, asking it how to use it safely, watching many YouTube videos, what not to do, what to do, how to put the water, how to run away, how to press it, how to check that there's no steam, how long to wait afterwards. That's like therapy in itself. And that's what many of you need for the kind of fears that you have inhabited and inherited from your parents. So as a parent, if you have a child or you have a child in your custody or your ward, I understand what you're trying to do. I understand why you're passing on certain things as fear. But please do know that the danger that you're not able to uproot that fear in later life, and that your child might grow up fearing things that half the world is not afraid of. Half the world is not even afraid of snakes. Half the world is not afraid of cockroaches. Half the world is not afraid of pressure cookers. But you don't realize that because you said that one thing that one time to a child that looked up to you and believed you, they have carried it as the gospel truth into adulthood, and it will take therapy and a lot of positive reinforcement from life. Hopefully they get it to get over that fear. That's all I wanted to share. Thanks for watching.